It just occurred to me as I was writing my notes up for this review that Barry Jenkins and Damien Chazelle are probably going to be competing against each other again at next year's Oscars for Best Picture and Best Director. They're just destined to be entwined together, these two, ever since the whole envelope mix-up 2 years ago at the Oscars. Wouldn't it be cute though if Barry Jenkins ended up winning Best Director this time and Best Picture went to First Man? A little switcheroo. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but wouldn't it be funny if it did? Hey up guys! So continuing my coverage of the London Film Festival, today's film up for discussion is one of the films in the festival lineup that I was so excited to see. It was one of my most anticipated films of the entire festival, and that is the new film from Barry Jenkins, and it's called If Beale Street Could Talk. Barry Jenkins is the man who gave the world Moonlight, which is one of my favourite films of the last 10 years, which triumphantly and yet somewhat unexpectedly won Best Picture at the Academy Awards 2 years ago. A lot of pressure to follow up something as game-changing as Moonlight. He's gone with an adaptation of James Baldwin's novel If Beale Street Could Talk, which Jenkins himself has wrote into a screenplay, and tells the story of a young couple called Tish, who's played by Kiki Payne, and Alfonso, or Fonny, who's played by Stephan James, who are a young couple who are madly in love living in 1970s Harlem, New York. Fonny is fingered as the perpetrator of the rape of Victoria Rogers, who's played by Emily Rios, a crime he was incapable of committing because he was on the other side of town with Tish and their friend Danny, who's played by Brian Tyree Henry, whilst the rape was being committed. But the testament of a racist, crooked cop who's played by Ed Crime puts Fonny behind bars where this film begins. And to add more tragedy to the scenario, Tish finds out that she's pregnant. The rest of the film sees Tish and her family do everything they can to prove Fonny's innocence. Tish is the narrator of this story and guides us through this tale of swooning love and social injustice. Newcomer Kiki Payne is a triumph as Tish. She brings so much sweetness to her that it's impossible not to like her. And Stephan James as Fonny is equally good. Jenkins uses flashbacks of their recent history to paint this picture of swirling romance for us. And in these flashbacks we see that Fonny is gentle, caring and tender when he's falling in love with Tish. But when we exit these flashbacks and see him in prison, we can feel his frustration and his anguish that this corrupt legal system is working against him. Stephan James shows excellent range here. Fonny is a craftsman, and there's a very genius shot in this about halfway through, where the camera circles around one of Fonny's unfinished wooden carvings. It's illuminated by this warm light, and much like himself, this block of wood has the potential to be something whole and complete. And it's one of these little moments that Jenkins crafts which gives the film this feeling of hope. Barry Jenkins has only made 3 films, but already has developed a distinct style which tells you as an audience member you're definitely watching one of Jenkins' films. There's a calmness and yet an urgency to his work. He understands the importance of lighting and space, and he also has the ability to transport you into the character's shoes. There are several scenes in this in which he expertly shifts you from being an observer to being the observed. The scenes between Tish and Fonny at the prison, divided by glass, is a great example of this. New circumstances make Fonny's outcome of the trial feel more and more hopeless. He then snaps, and in that moment talks directly into the camera. The background noise falls away, and we are now Tish. We feel her struggle, and their despair is our despair. Another scene which sees Tish's mum Sharon, played superbly by Regina, flies to Puerto Rico to see if she can convince the rape victim Victoria that she falsely identified the wrong man of raping her. Whilst the confrontation between the two of them is powerful stuff to watch, there's a scene before this which helps us empathize even more with her struggle. It's just a little scene which sees Sharon put on a weave wig whilst looking in the mirror. Again, she's looking directly into the camera. We are her reflection, and we feel what she's feeling. And Regina conveys so much in this scene without having any dialogue. And the rest of the cast is superb. One of the best scenes is near the beginning of the film when Tish breaks the news to Fonny's family that she's having a baby. This entire scene is packed with so much heartfelt melodrama. Joanne Ellis plays Fonny's Bible-bashing mother, and she delivers some absolute savage blows to Tish, who she sees as the reason as to why her son is incarcerated. Tish's spirited sister, Ernestine, played by Teyonah Parris, comes back swinging with a verbal baseball bat and knocks them out of the apartment. She's also fiercely good in this. And Colman Domingo too does excellent work as Tish's dad, Joseph. He's warm, jovial, kind-hearted, and very supportive of Tish. His love for his family is evident, but it is Regina King who shines the most as Sharon. She is the peacekeeper and the column that supports this family. She glows with maternal presence and should definitely be looking at an Oscar nomination, if not a win for Best Supporting Actress next year. And the camera work in Beale Street is exceptional. There's a wistfulness that Jenkins adopts, which evokes a lot of passion. There's a flashback where Tish and Fonny are checking out a warehouse from a landlord, a very understated performance from Dave Franco here, by the way, and Fonny paints a picture of what their future home could look like. The camera glides around the space as he describes their furniture in certain spots, and you can see it come to life in your mind's eye. You can see their future home without Jenkins feeling the need to actually show you it. It's a very sweet and playful scene because it's like they're playing house as grown-ups, and they've known each other since they were kids, so they probably played house. So it feels very romantic that he's painting a picture for her with his imagination, and that fluid camera work really helps to give you that feeling. And coming back to Jenkins' distinct style, he uses a lot of intimate close-ups of Tish and Fonny. This fixation on significant parts of their faces or bodies again makes you feel like you are them, falling in love with their imperfections. The romance just radiates throughout this film. And Jenkins reunites with his secret ingredient collaborators of Moonlight to deliver this skin-prickling atmosphere in Beale Street. James Laxton's cinematography and Nicholas Britell's music. They both work masterfully and in synchronicity with Jenkins' direction. It's some of the best work in their respective fields of the whole year. Laxton's lighting is very melancholy. He uses a lot of greens and blues. There's a quiet broodiness to how he lights each scene. And the score by Britell is commandingly evocative. He uses a lot of strings and it's very present throughout the film. I would say this is the music that touched me deepest this year, and I would say Britell's chances of winning Best Score are quite high. So to sum up, guys, Barry Jenkins' If Beale Street Could Talk is a tremendous directorial follow-up to Moonlight. Like Moonlight, it's another film that doesn't feel the need to scream in order to get attention. The power comes from its commanding sense of restraint, and all the elements work succinctly with each other, and it feels very fluid, yet awake. Unlike me, I'm so tired from the festival now, I just want a nap. The writing is elegant and crisp. The performances are all of the highest caliber, particularly Regina King, and the evocative music by Britell is timeless and gives the film its soul. I can see this being a big awards contender. It definitely deserves some nominations for Best Picture, Best Supporting Actress, Best Writing, Best Direction, and Best Score, and even has the potential to be nominated for a few more. Okay, so let's ask those three questions. Would I watch this again? Certainly. This is an entrancing piece of cinema and begs to be watched more than once. I love this film. I will definitely watch it again. Would I recommend it for you guys? Hells yeah, this is one not to be missed, guys. I'd say it's just as good as Moonlight, and if you're a fan of awards contenders, you should definitely check it out. You should just see it anyway. It's phenomenal. And what score am I gonna give it out of 10? Much like Moonlight, this is definitely a 10 out of 10. There you go, guys. Those are my thoughts on If Beale Street Could Talk. But this is just one bloke's opinion. I want to know yours. I know there's a little while before this film gets its general release, but are you excited for this film? Will you be seeing it? And if you have seen it, be sure to let me know what you thought of it. And my quick question for you guys today is, what film from this year would you like to see nominated for Best Picture at next year's Oscars? For me, I would really like to see Beautiful Boy and First Man both get a nomination, but what film do you desperately want to see in the Best Picture category for next year? Whatever you think, be sure to let me know in the comments section below. If you guys do like this content, please don't forget to click that subscribe button. And if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or Stardust, all that information is in the description link below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Hearfield, and I'll see you next time.